The purpose of this show is to guide you to realign with habits that get you to live the life you've always dreamed of. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with Jesse Ewing. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle, where you can access your full potential right now. Finally break free from destructive habits. That dream life, if you want it, you can have it. This is where you transform your health, mind, business, and relationships. Or do nothing and keep your life the way it is. But if you're ready for change, you're in the right place. This is where you're gonna learn how to live a habit-based lifestyle. You are tuning in to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Jesse Ewing. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle. Let's go.
What's up, guys? Jesse and Caleb, and we are coming at you live today on the Habit-Based Lifestyle and Business Show. Today is Friday, February 12th, and yesterday was my daughter's birthday. So you got your birthday on Monday. I got my birthday on next Friday.
Yeah, we got a whole lineup of February birthdays.
Yeah, and then I think we have a couple clients. I know Krista Moreland in our group, her birthday's today. So happy birthday, 39.
Happy birthday, Krista.
And then I also know there's a few other birthdays inside of our Habit-Based Lifestyle group this week. I think Sabrina's is actually next Saturday. So yeah.
If you guys are watching this and your birthday's on February, let us know. We want to know. We want to hear all the February birthdays.
Yeah, I didn't realize how many February birthdays we had, but yeah, pretty cool. So I didn't realize yours was in February.
Yeah, mine is
21, man. Big 21.
Hear all the February. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I really can't believe it. I never thought I'd make it here.
If you guys are watching this live, go ahead and hashtag live. Let's see who's on here. I think we got Armand on here. It looks like we have 4 or 5 people watching. So if you're tuning in live, hashtag live, and let us know. We're gonna have a little opportunity for you to participate. So I'm gonna ask you this to start out, Caleb. What has been the biggest lesson that you've learned, or maybe like top 2 lessons you've learned in 20 years, and like, I don't even know how to say, like 9/10 or some 29 years or 20 years and 9/10?
Man, I think the most recent one that's been the most, I guess, like profound and the biggest that's helped me is to stay consistent. I think for 20 years, I've been pretty inconsistent. And it wasn't until the last I think this past year, I've been working on my consistency, more specifically and more prominently in these past like 6 months. I've been very consistent in my faith, my fitness, my family, and my building relationships, and in my finances. I've been very consistent over the past six months, and I've seen the most results from doing the smallest things every single day versus like trying to do the big things every year, So number one is consistency. That was huge thanks to you, and Habit-Based Lifestyle is really working on my habits. Seriously, that's been the biggest thing. And 2021, I know I'm going to be a lot more consistent and a lot deeper in my consistency. That's one of them. The second one is to really have trust and faith in myself. I think that's a huge thing. A lot of people my age especially don't have a lot is faith in themselves. And I think I have this like weird, like crazy faith in myself where I trust myself a lot. Maybe a little too much. But that's really like gotten me to trust myself to do the small things, to conquer the big things. Because at times when I didn't have trust in myself, I was staying stagnant. When I don't trust myself, I just sit there and I don't do anything. I don't really move forward because I'm scared that I'm going to trip and fall and I'm not going to get back up. But I think that faith part comes in where I trust myself to get back up when I fall, and I fall every single day, but I just know how to get back up now. So it's really the faith in myself and the consistency over these past, like more specifically this past year, that's had the biggest dramatic impact in my results in my life.
And, you know, I will say this, that you've actually been consistent. So we're always consistent, right? So like people always say, man, I want to be more consistent. So we either are consistent at getting what we want or we're consistent at getting what we don't want. But generally either way, we are consistent at one of those two things. And so I would actually challenge you and just say, generally, if you're able to be consistent at getting what you want, it's because you have a vision for what you want. And you're lining up, you know, the habits and things that are going to get you there. And so, you know, I really want to challenge you or anybody watching, especially, you know, someone who may feel like, hey, I'm not consistent. Like you are consistent, right? It's just, what are you consistent in? Is it giving you the result you ultimately want? You know, so we got a Casey Tavault saying, hey, young Sebastian, guy's a stud. I'm going to challenge you, man. This is not young Sebastian. This is young Caleb, who, yes, his dad is Sebastian, who's, you know, obviously helped him. I will agree with, you know, he's a stud, but we just don't want it to go to his head too much. So
I've heard that all my life, and I love it. My dad's amazing. Jesse knows my dad super well. Jesse, you've trained my dad. I've heard stories about you kicking my dad in the ocean, giving him all the dick kicks and mental challenges to get my dad to be a better businessman and a better father. That was crazy. So
yeah, I actually had an opportunity at Warrior Week to grab your dad literally by the shirt collar, me and Coach Sam, and take him for a little baptism in the ocean.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
a force, but it wasn't a voluntary baptism either. But guys, we got 10 people on here. If you guys are on live, comment below #live. We can't see who's on, and we would love to interact with you guys as we get into our show. Every Friday, we talk about lifestyle habits, and we're going to be diving deeper into the lifestyle habits that really impacted my life, especially as I'm about to turn 21, and the lifestyle habits that Jesse has also taught me, and also it's working in his life too. So we're going to get deeper into that, and you guys are going to be able to like talk with us on the show. As much as me and Jesse like talking to each other, we love talking to you guys as well. So make sure you comment #live, or if you're watching the replay, comment #replay so we can get back to you guys in the comments as well.
Yeah, we got Jim Alexander #live. We got Cameron Cardahan. What's up, Cameron? #live. Connor #live. What's up, Connor? And then we got Armand #live. We got Casey. What's up, man? So listen, you guys stay on till the end of this. I'm going to give away a hooded sweatshirt. Habit. Yeah, check that out. Caleb is wearing that right now. He's repping our gear. You know, it's cool to have, you know, it's funny because I think about building my business, and I was like, I went from a guy who had like 30 employees at 2 personal training facilities to like, hey dude, I'm just gonna like have my backpack and I'm just gonna roll solo. And then now, you know, we're building a team again, and you know, right now we have like five people on our team, and I think like 3 or 4 of them are all under like 22, 23. And I'm like, shit, here I go again, building another team. But I think it just goes to show that like, no matter how badass you think you are, you know, you can't do it on your own. And so, you know, I know today is a lifestyle habit, but I want to really challenge you guys that, you know, whether we're talking about business or we're just talking about life, like it's very hard for you to do this stuff on your own. It's challenging, right? You know, and I would say the last year has presented some of the biggest challenges. You know, I think about a year ago, Caleb wasn't on my team. You know, there's a couple guys on this call that weren't even on my team. And I think about, okay, today, now I'm leading like 5, you know, guys on my team. We have over 40 clients inside a habit-based lifestyle, and the growth rate that we have is pretty cool. But if I really look at a year, I think oftentimes we look at like, okay, where am I growing today? And it's like, man, I don't really see a lot of growth. But when I look back a year ago, you know, I see the growth. And so I think sometimes when we focus on, if I focus on that finger, right, and that's all I see, I'm like, shit, I'm not growing. But when I pull this other finger up and I'm like, hey, here's where I was a year ago, here's where we are now. And you can see like, dude, look at the distance of growth. And I think that's one of the things that we tend to do is, you know, as business owners, as entrepreneurs, even just as people, is we're like, all right, Caleb, where were you a year ago? What were you doing? And like, what is life like now compared to then? And I want you to go through it because I think it's important that you recognize the growth in yourself. And I think that is an important place for you to really see. It's easy to play solo. I will tell you, like, it's easy to play solo. It's comfortable to play solo. And it may feel like you're growing, but it's only because you're the only one there. And so really when you're not leading people, there's a comfortable place you sit in that makes you feel like you're growing, but it's like when you look around, you have no way to really measure.
Yeah. I mean, I was right there with you a year ago. I was like essentially solo. It was just me and my other housemate that, you know, and it was just us two. We didn't have any other friends outside of us two, besides our neighbors, who literally lived above us. But it was literally, I felt like I just had myself. I didn't really have God present in my life. I was seeing my family, but I wasn't connected to my family. I wasn't connected to any friends. I was just seeing a bunch of new people that would come to parties. I was working, but I wasn't working towards anything. I was just working every single day. My fitness was like up and down. I would like have weeks where I would like crush it. And then I would have weeks where I'm like, I don't need to go to the gym, you know? It was a very huge mess. And on top of that, COVID was happening. So right as I was feeling like I was building a bunch of things in my life, COVID came and that just shot me down. Lost my job, got into huge fights with my father. So my life was ridiculously a mess. It was crazy. And at the time, I didn't see it as that way. I just saw as me doing my best, but my best wasn't good enough. You know, that's kind of the story that I was saying in my head. I was like, oh, my best isn't good enough. And this was really cool for me looking back because I got to see the steps, the actions that I took that got me to this place now where I am super consistent in business, working constantly every day, working towards things, you know, helping you build out a team, helping build out another program that we're launching out, actually 2 programs that we're launching out, you know. Also my fitness, I am seriously the strongest I've ever been, lifting, clanging, banging the heaviest weights I've ever lifted in the gym, getting in there every single Monday through Friday, and sometimes Saturdays and Sundays. So my fitness has been ridiculously on point. Maybe sometimes I could stop eating a little too much popcorn. I eat a little too much popcorn on the weekends, I'll be honest.
Or is it what's that stuff called? Boom Chicka Pop or whatever?
No, it's the microwavable popcorn, like the movie theater butter popcorn. That's my weakness.
Yeah, we call that chemical popcorn.
Yeah, that chemical popcorn tastes real good to me. I need to change that up. But other than that, like my diet's been great. My relationships with my friends and my family has 10x'd ever since I've started building a deeper relationship with myself. So I'm a dramatically different person than I was on my when I was 20. I'm still 20. And I could tell too, because on my 20th birthday, I didn't do much. I didn't do anything, and it wasn't really significant to me. But this time, when I'm turning 21, not only on my birthday, but this past week leading up to my birthday, I've had a really amazing friends that have all given me gifts in their own way, and I've never gotten a birthday gift like that before. Friends got me books. Armand got me a book. My other friend got me a marketing book, a personal development book. Someone got a bunch of friends together to celebrate my birthday. So all these people in my life are actually getting me something, and I didn't even ask them to get me anything. And I can really see that as a testament to the friendships that I've created versus last year when I didn't have anything but seemingly me and myself and I.
All right. So first thing I'm going to say is, well, when you don't ask for anything, that's called a gift, right?
Yeah.
And when we're given a gift, it's about receiving, but you can't give away what you're not receiving. And so I would say that the bigger thing is you're now getting gifts back in return because you've been giving gifts out first in exchange. And so that which we give out first is what we receive in exchange. And so, like, dude, that's a spiritual law of giving and receiving. There's two sides of that, right?
Yeah.
When we give and, truly give and don't receive anything back, or don't ask for anything back, we're receiving that gift back to us. And that is actually a law. And that's cool. Hey, we got the birthday girl on here right now, Krista Moreland. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Krista.
And Krista is one of our badass ladies inside the HBL. She's absolutely crushing it, and just got herself a new car for her birthday this week. And, she set a goal. Hey, in 90 days, I'm going to have this, this, and this. All of a sudden in a week, there it is. And so, it's amazing to see the progress and the results you're getting, especially knowing where you were like 5-6 weeks ago. Just how fast, like, listen, you guys, like, no matter how bad your life is, no matter how much, pressure, stress, all those things, it's a season, right? And seasons end and new seasons begin. And so just remember, like somebody said on here, the struggle is real. It is real, but I mean, instead of saying struggle, like, just say season. A season is real. Seasons come to an end. So no matter how bad anything gets, like, that season will come to an end. And it eventually, will bear a different fruit if we're sowing a different seed. And, that's one of the cool things is, we have to, when we're in a season where maybe there's a lot of resistance, when we're in a season to where, man, this feels like a lot of struggle. On the other side of that, there's another season to where we can bear fruit. You just got to keep planting the seeds and kind of watering those in that season. And sometimes, it's hard to think about because we're like, man, we're caught in this place of struggle. But just realizing that, hey, sometimes in that place, our greatest struggle can turn into our greatest strength.
Yeah. You could say that again. Jesse, as we're coming upon a new season here at HBL, I'm super curious, what season of life are you in? If you had to title it, what season of life would you say you're in right now? And outside of business, what area of your life has grown the most over this past season of yours that's actually led to your business growth, right?
Yeah, I would say, the biggest thing is really just growing spiritually in my faith with God. And I don't even want to say in my faith with God, but like more in my relationship with God. And I think the biggest thing with that is, it's easy to focus on your business, growing that. It's easy to focus on, growing your physical health. It's easy to be like, oh, I got to change my mindset. But to say like, hey, I want to grow in my relationship with God. I want to, have a powerful relationship with God. And not only that, but with my wife and my family.
Mhm.
Those are things that are much harder to measure, because they're not like you're measuring a bank account or you're measuring a scale, right?
Mhm.
It's like, how do you actually, measure your growth with God, or your growth in your family, your growth in your relationship with your wife?
Mhm.
And so I think that season is really represented, um, what I'm working on the most. And even just, like, we have a amazing pastor at our church, and just being able to hear the vision of him, to be able to learn from him. And not only that, but to surround myself with other men. I would say that, you know, I've been in a brotherhood before where it was like, hey, it's a powerful group of men.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't know if it was necessarily like connect. Yeah, you felt connected spiritually, but just having someone to learn from as kind of a spiritual, I don't want to say coach, but like guide, someone who can like actually guide you and support you, has been amazing, these last like 6, 7 months. And, that's really what my focus has been. And in that, I've seen a lot of growth in other areas, and I think for me too, even as just like growing in how I coach and lead people, that's really been huge, is just like, hey, am I coaching and leading people the way that God, you know, is leading me? And I think sometimes, when we're working with people, is we have to step out of that and say, okay, listen, is the way I'm teaching and the way I'm guiding people really the way God is guiding me or teaching me, and
Mm.
trying to be, or working on being more, um, in that way.
Mhm.
And I think that's something I've really been asking myself, on a day-to-day basis. Am I leading and guiding people the way that God is leading or guiding me, or even like my pastor is kind of leading and guiding me?
Mm. So I'm hearing is a huge spiritual growth season for you, as well as a growth season in your marriage and your family, and that's super cool to see too. Because as I'm working with you, it's directly impacting me. I get to see your spiritual faith, and it's actually leading me to get deeper into mine. You recommended a 40-day prayer challenge that I'm going through. That's a huge lifestyle habit that's already changed my life after 5 amazing days. And also with your family, I see how much you love and care for your family, and that really inspires me to, like, as a young man, to really look at my future life and become the person that I want to be like for my future family, and start building that guy right now through your lead. So, guys, if you guys are watching this and you own a business and you have team members, well, I'll say from personal experience, is the number one reason for me as an employee, contractor, whoever you have, the biggest way to get people fired up for your business is to care about them in their life and to lead by example. I could say with 100% certainty that that's what Jesse does. He leads through example in his life, and it directly impacts me in my life as seriously 10x since I've stepped foot in his circle. So that's a huge testament to you. Armand said he's right now in a season of humbling and learning all over again. Nice job, Armand. And Krista said the season of abundance, all things love, rest, connection, and spirit. This is a place that I have only dabbled in, and not a space I've allowed herself to be in. So awesome, nice season, Krista. If you guys are watching live, we have a couple. We don't want you guys just watching, but we want you guys participating, because lifestyle habits and talking about lifestyle is what directly fuels business. A lot of people have it the other way around, where they have the business, but they don't have the lifestyle that they want, because they're so busy focusing on business. We flip the script, don't we, Jesse? Focus
Yeah,
on the lifestyle.
I would say, like, just thinking even about Krista, who, is like, hey, like, she came in for business. But I really believe the breakthrough was lifestyle. And, she's like, man, I'll hustle and grind. I'll do all these things. And I'm like, listen, like, forget about hustle and grind, focus on and even like one of her weekends is like, listen, unplug from work and go focus on your family and hang with them. Because knowing that in that, what's going to happen is it's going to actually start showing up in her business. And I really believe, and we believe inside of Habit-Based Lifestyle, sure, you may come in for business and we're going to pitch that. But we know you need lifestyle. And I'll tell you, like, I joined, programs because I was like, listen, dude, I want to crush it in my business, and what I really believe is like, that is a lie that I told myself, is like, I'm going to crush in business. And yet the minute I step in is like, I'm literally getting like punched in the face, slapped in the face. It's like, dude, the last thing you need to focus on is your business. You need to focus on your wife, your kids, and you need to get your priorities straight. And so, in that is like, every time I say I want to focus on my business, it's like my number one business is my marriage and my family. And if those things aren't number one, my business will take over and become number one, and everything else will start falling apart. And so, yeah, we're going to guide you in saying, yeah, you come in here, crush your business, but we're going to reprogram you. Because here's the thing, a business will change your life. A lifestyle will, change, or transforming your lifestyle will transform everything in your life. And that's the bigger thing, is really just understanding that, hey, we can change your business, we can change your body, we can do all these external things with you, but like, true transformation has to take place on the inside. And if we don't do that, it's just going to be kind of this surface level exchange of, pushing your energy into these other areas. And we fall out of alignment eventually. And then it's like, all right, well, now I got to go make more money, or now I got to, lose more body fat or more weight. Cause if I look better, then my life's going to be better.
Yeah. And this is the reason why me and you, specifically, first thing we do when we wake up is we don't touch business. We touch our lifestyle, right? We journal, we meditate, we go to the gym, we work out. We have a gym right beneath our office. We pray. We do all these lifestyle things first to set our day for business, and even have lifestyle habits after business. But we specifically set our day on purpose, with lifestyle first, to ground us in the fact that we don't wake up and just switch on our business brain. We wake up and figure out, what do we want in every area of our life, and how can business support that? And we've, Jesse and I have found huge growth in not only our relationship together, but our relationship in business together by doing that. Casey said he's in a season of balance this year. He has a new baby arriving in 4/23, and it's about 4 years since his last baby. So congrats, Casey.
Yeah, congratulations.
And then Michael, season of alignment. Awesome. What does that mean, Michael? Comment down. What does it mean for you, season of alignment? What are you aligning in your life in this season? But I also want to ask the people another question. Comment below. As me and Jesse are talking about lifestyle habits supporting business, what's the number one area in your life that you need to start focusing on before business to support your business? This is a huge one. For me, a lot of times it was my fitness because when I'm weak physically, I feel very weak mentally. And when I'm weak mentally, I feel very weak in business. But when I feel really strong physically, my mental strength is right there. And in business, it allows me to tackle large problems and not stress as much as I used to.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think the easiest place for us to go as people is it's always easy to change, your body. It's always easy to change your bank account. But what's not easy is to change the internal, compass of our life. And that really means, like, how do you measure, you're changing spiritually? How do you measure, you're changing your relationship with your wife, your relationship with God, those things. And yeah, health can be wealth. I like to actually dismantle those beliefs. Health is only wealth, because here's the thing is like that can be true and it can be false, because how many people are broke that work out a lot, you know? And so we can be, so here's the thing, man, is like we can be healthy is a way of representing the internal health to match the external health. And so the only way we can really become wealthy is if that happens. What I see a lot of people doing is they focus on the external, you know, physical health, and they miss out on the internal health. And so you can be physically looking healthy, but you can be spiritually broken.
Mm,
And so what do I mean by that is that means that like, hey, on the outside, and this was a place that I was in for a long time where, you know, I put so much emphasis on what I look like physically, through bodybuilding, through, you know, football, through all these different things, that on the inside, I was, you know, spiritually broken.
mhm.
You know, my mindset was broken. You know, my mental, you know, state was broken. And I had a lot of, you know, what do I say? I had, you know, anxiety, worry, doubt, fear, all these things happening. But I would try to work out harder. I would try to be stronger or bigger to make up for that. And I wasn't wealthy. I mean, it didn't even matter how much money I had, because every time I looked in the mirror, I was like, man, I got to get bigger. I got to get stronger. I tried to make up for my internal health. And I tried to make up for that by, you know, doing something more, having to prove myself physically.
Yeah, and I was looking back at pictures on your Facebook. Like you had a crazy body, or I mean, you still do. If you guys don't know this about Jesse, all year round, January through December, this guy has a visible six pack and large muscles all the time. I was showing my friend. I was like, dude, look at my boss. Like this guy is ginormous all the time, year round. And it can be really easy to deceive people on the outside, right? By lifting a lot of weights and dismissing the internal transformation that we can have. You know, there are a lot of people at the gym, like you said, who are big physical studs, but are broken spiritually, broke. Their bank accounts are broken. You know, they don't have money. Maybe their family life is also broken. So it's really easy to mask the inside with a hard exterior.
When you listen, when you're big, you know, when you're bigger, stronger, faster than everybody else, no one's going to question, you know, what's going on internally.
Yeah.
Except maybe someone like me who's like, hey, I was the guy, you know, leading with all that. And the bigger I got, the stronger I got, the more powerful I got on the outside, the more broken I was on the inside.
Hmm.
And so like, I'm a guy that's going to challenge people in that, because I see through that. Most people are going to be like, dude, I don't even want to mess with that guy. And so, you know, that is the thing, is like, I see all these guys doing things like, you know, you've done them, 75 hard, doing bodybuilding shows.
Yep.
I believe all those things are important and powerful, as a way of changing, but they're not going to truly transform who you are. They will not transform who you are. And I think we can get caught up in the game of changing so much to where, you know, I'll do those things. I'll do a bodybuilding show. And you're talking about a guy who did his first bodybuilding show at 17 years old.
Wow.
You know, so like I've done that. I've done, you know, things way harder. I did 75 hard, dude, for 5 years,
Yeah.
5-6 years. So, you know, I've grown up for 10 years doing stuff like that. I've done some of the hardest civilian challenges out there. And what I'll say is I was chasing a change. And meanwhile, on the inside, I still wasn't transforming. It was like, okay, what's next? What's the next thing I can do? What's the next thing that can make me feel this way? And yet I was still broken on the inside. And so, you know, hey, is 75 hard? Is it good or bad? Like, I guess it just depends on what you're looking for, right? You did it.
Yeah.
You had massive transformation, more power to you. We did things in Warrior that were like core 4. And, I see a lot of these guys, like, dude, like I'm doing 75 hard. I'm like, well, you're in Warrior. Like, what's core 4? Like,
Yeah.
did you not do it? Like, cause I was pretty like dedicated to doing it. But what happens a lot of times in that is like 75 hard is someone else's habits taking you to a result. And so my biggest issue is like, hey, after one round of that, you better understand that the results that you're after in your life, you better understand what those are, because you could customize your own 75 hard. You could customize your own daily habits to match up with the results that you actually want, which are much more powerful than me copying someone else's, set of habits. And, maybe that's an area where you may struggle with, dude, what do I do? But I think people really need to understand that when I borrow someone else's habits, that's not going to transform my life. When I start customizing my habits based off the results that I ultimately want, that will begin to transform your life, and not just in your physical health or your business, but in, your spiritual health, in your relationship with your family, or, marriage. If you're not married, then maybe it's just your relationship with yourself. So these things are great, man. I think it's kind of like a one-time thing. Do it once, see what happens. But like ultimately you need to understand that if you want a specific result in your life and that's what you're chasing and that's what you want, you better understand how to customize the habit in getting there.
Yeah. Lucas, I hope this answers your question. He asked, what are your thoughts about 75 hard? So I think you just heard him. But this is also the reason why every time I come to Jesse, I'm like, Jesse, I need a habit. And I ask you, right? I ask you, what should I do, right? In my faith or something like that. And you always ask me, well, what do you want? What are you trying to achieve? I'm like, it's a good point. I'm just wanting like a habit to do over and over and over. But you always focus me back on like, well, what do you want? Why are you doing that in the first place? And for me, it's like, it's super easy to get caught up in 75 hard challenges and core 4 challenges, all these different challenges that bring me to somebody else's results before I even look at my own results or the results that I want to achieve. And if the results I want to achieve align with maybe another program or habits that are out there, then great. But if they don't, then I'm just going into that thinking that that's going to change me versus setting my own habits. That's what you get me to do, is customize my own habits.
Yeah. Here's what's really cool about, 75 hard, or even, core 4, which is what we got from, Wake Up Warrior, was they helped me develop the discipline. They helped me develop the habits to get, what I want, or get back on track with what I want. And they did it across, especially, Warrior was like, they were doing it across like 4 domains: your body, your being, your balance, your business. But then I realized, hey, there's actually a lot more levels to this. It doesn't just have to be this. And so those things help me build the foundation. But on that, here's the biggest mistake I see people making, right? Is that once they've built the foundation, it's almost like they took a jackhammer and they go destroy the foundation they built, and then they try to do 75 hard again. They're constantly trying to do that. And I'm like, listen, man, why are you continuing to destroy the foundation that you built? Why not build on top of that and start making it and customize? Like, think about it this way. What if you were building a house and you had these house plans and they were like, hey, listen, what we're going to do is we're going to build you a solid foundation. And then from there, you're going to have to customize your own house. Okay. Would you, if you were building a house, would you let them, help you build that solid foundation? Like, you wouldn't go back and say, dude, let me take this jackhammer and start breaking up this whole foundation and then go try to do it again over and over and over again. And that's what I see a lot of people doing. And so why not take the foundation that someone else kind of guided you or helped you build, and then you start customizing, the walls, the roof, the shape of the house, and all these things. And really what that is like, hey, here's the result that I want. I'm going to start customizing my house from here and building it up from there. But somebody helped me along the way build that foundation. I appreciate them for that, which, for me, Wake Up Warrior really helped me build the foundation for what we're doing. Where maybe 75 Hard has helped other people. It's amazing, right? But we have to learn how to start customizing our own life, our own habits, our own results from that place. Because if we don't, we're just going to keep building and tearing down the foundation.
Yeah. And you got that amazing foundation built. And now you moved your family here 2 years ago to Southern California, one of the most expensive states. And now you're building your own house here, right? You're designing the walls, you're designing the room, the layout, the structure, the plan, and you're doing it with your family. And you're doing it all here because you had an amazing foundation instead of taking that jackhammer, breaking down the foundation that was already built, trying to rebuild your own foundation over and over again. You just started to get to work and started building that house of your dreams, right?
And I like to use simple analogies. How warm is it? Yeah, like today it's actually not that warm. It's about 65, and it was actually rainy, but the sun's coming out now. But so here's the thing: is why would you continue to build a foundation over and over if it's no longer broken?
Wow.
I mean, imagine how much harder you got to work, right? And that's what I see people do. Even for myself, it's like there's been times where I want to go back and get into, Warrior, get into certain programs. Even like 75 Hard, I've had some things where I'm like, dude, I want to go back and do this because everybody else is doing it, or maybe a bodybuilding show. I might see somebody doing something, but I'm like, why do I go back, and why would I want to go back if I don't have a broken foundation? Why not just build what I want on top of the foundation? And that's where I'm at. That doesn't mean that's where you're at. And so if you're listening to this or watching this, I'm not telling you it's good or it's bad, but just if your foundation's broken, you may need something like that. You may need something else to help you, build that foundation or at least have an anchor on that. But then eventually you got to start building up on top of it. And that's the mistake I see a lot of people making is, dude, they just keep trying to build and break their foundation. And in doing that, it's like, they're not really getting anywhere. They're just doing a bunch of stuff. And I think what's that?
To stay busy. They're doing stuff to stay busy, to try to look good, follow the newest trend, right?
Right. It's like, hey, here's all these habits I'm doing, but I'm still in the same place I was, 6 months ago or a year ago. But, nothing's really changing, right? I think Lucas said, I'm keeping it simple, stupid this year. I overthink stuff, just need to take action. Well, I mean, here's the thing is you can take action and do a bunch of stuff, but unless it's taking you to where you want to go, then, I mean, maybe you shouldn't be taking action, or at least that kind of action. I think where we're caught up in more today than ever is doing things without a purpose or doing things without a result of where we want to go. And so anytime you ask me, it's like, dude, what should I do for this? I'm like, hey, what do you want? Why would I say that? Well, because I'm like, dude, you have a foundation. So understand, what do you want for the roof over your head? What do you want for the walls? What do you want for the windows? What do you want to customize your life with? And then we can talk about specific things.
Yeah. So now in this season of life for HBL, you are leading a team of young men and women, but you're leading a new demographic of amazing clients. You're leading a new team that you didn't have a year ago, Jesse. You're leading your family, and you physically moved them out to Southern California to build your new house and your new life. And you're doing it. You're building your house. You're not going back to the foundation, which I personally see a lot of grown men do too. They go back to the foundation, think it's broken. But you right now in the season of life and of habit-based lifestyle, there's a house being built, and there's a kingdom being built. And it's amazing to see you come in every single day, Jesse, and start putting some hammer to nails and building that wall. So it's really great and inspiring, not only for me, but I know for a lot of other people too who are watching. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Let's go to Lucas. For me, I want to be confident mentally and physically. Okay, so instead of saying I want to be, um, and this is a mistake I watch people make, right? Is the way that they communicate is oftentimes the results that they end up with. And so I want to be means that you are lacking confidence mentally and physically. And so asking for something from that place means that we are possibly broken, we are possibly lacking. And so I believe this is some of the fundamental mistakes we make. And I want to show you how you can shift that idea of thinking and turn it into something else. So I'm going to ask you this, if you're on this, and you can respond if you want to. If you don't want to, that's cool, but it's something you could think about. So I'm going to say this. For me, I want to be confident mentally and physically. Want to be is a mid-level commitment word. Okay. So first thing I would say is, there's 7 levels of commitment that I listen for when I communicate with a client. Number 1 is people say like, I should be confident mentally and physically. Should takes us to shame. Should takes us to, not feeling enough. And then there's, I need to be confident mentally and physically, which is a low level commitment word. Need often comes from something we're lacking. And then there's like, I want to be confident, which means we're not that yet. And so these are words that have very low levels of commitment. Even the vibration of them feels really weird. But then if I was looking in the mirror, imagine looking in the mirror and you said, hey, I want to be confident mentally and physically. Like, does that get you to actually change once you walk away from the mirror? Imagine if you said, I should be confident mentally and physically, what kind of puts us in a state of shame, or I need means that I'm lacking this confidence in my mentality, mental and physical game. Now, if we could change these to like, I get to be confident mentally and physically, that starts feeling much different. And then we get into, I choose to be confident mentally and physically. Now we're starting to change our state and how we show up. So imagine, for you, Lucas,
I am, right? I am confident, or confident mentally and physically too.
Even I am is kind of like, you're still like lacking. Cause like, hey, I am this versus I choose this. I choose to be confident mentally and physically. So these are powerful statements that you can begin to say to yourself. And you could also say this, like, who would you be as a man with confidence, mentally and physically? Who would you be as a man with confidence physically and mentally and physically? And you would say like, hey, I would be this. I would be, this. And then, what would it feel like to be this person? Is you need to really understand what it would feel like to be that person so you can push yourself into that. And then how would you show up different, Lucas, if you already had confidence, mentally and physically? Like, how would you show up different on a day-to-day basis? Because if you don't know that, then you're not going to act any different. And so think about faith. Faith is acting as if I already have what I want. How would you show up differently if you already were confident mentally and physically on a day-to-day basis? That's where you have to start getting yourself into. That's where you have to start programming your brain into understanding and believing. And when you can begin to do that, you're going to take action. And so here's the number one thing that I watch people do is they sit there and say, well, for me, I want to be confident mentally and physically. A lot of people say that, or, hey, this is who I'm becoming. The problem is when I say that, I'm stating it like as it's out here and not already in me. Where I have to get to, or where I really want to get to, is where I can bring that in me and act as if I already have that and step into it every single day.
Mhm.
And so when that story comes up of I want to be confident mentally and physically, I change that story into, hey, I'm going to act as if I already am confident mentally and physically. And I'm going to step into that and hold that as long as I can throughout the day.
Yeah. Lucas asked a follow-up question. He said, "So how can he rewire his brain to think and speak this way?" I think you already gave him the answer, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you need to go back and listen to this, I know the first few times you probably hear something like this, you're like, dude, you made it sound so easy.
Yeah, yeah.
So here's the thing is, the moment that I get into the story of I want to be confident mentally and physically, we must step into that new story of acting as if I already am mentally and physically confident. And once I step into that story, it's like what would make you feel that, what how would you show up differently? Man, I would stop using that language in my head. And I think a lot of times we have fear, we have worry, we have doubt, we have lack that creeps in, especially in the morning. What are you going to do on a day-to-day basis? As soon as you wake up, you hear that story, you shift into, a new story or, you know, a different way to say that so that you can step into that.
Yeah, I guess I can also like speak to this too, Lucas. When I was, I think last year and even the year before, I was thinking like, man, I should be more physically fit. I want to, or I need to look like this, right? And I would use all these low level commitment words. And the next thing I would do was was buy a tub of ice cream and I would eat ice cream. Like I wouldn't be committed to doing it because I had such a low level commitment mindset, right? And then now I had to shift my mindset. Jesse helped me do this and using higher level commitment words to change my language, to change my mindset, to change my actions. So now I say, I choose to be physically fit. I choose to be mentally fit. So what do I do now that I choose to do those things is I work out every day, right? I make sure my diet's on point. So I meal prep, right? I do all these things now that I have a higher level commitment mindset versus a low level commitment mindset where it's like, oh, I should be, but I'm not. So I guess I'll just stay where I am, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
very rarely will we change by saying, "Hey, I should eat better. I need to eat better. I want to eat better." Versus like, "Okay, I choose to eat better." Well, if I choose to eat better, then what would I be eating?
Yeah.
So like these are all things that, we do to ourselves. Um, kind of to give ourselves a way out is like we don't even know what we're doing. And so it's almost like we have this internal dialogue that we're not actually tuning into.
Hmm.
And we really got to tune into our internal dialogue so that we can match that up with what we really want.
Yeah.
And once I understand that and learn how to do that, I can begin to shift, you know, things in my life and I can begin to shift that internal dialogue to go towards what I want.
Hmm. Connor said, always keep the vision of where you want to be and do the things day to day to make that version of yourself, uh, you want to be would do. Yeah, that future version of yourself. What would he do? Yeah. So Jesse, as we're starting to wrap up this lifestyle focused show, anything else we want to leave these people with?
Well, I think the biggest thing we could leave everyone with is make sure that here's step one, right? So we talked a lot about habits. We talked a lot about those things. If you don't know where you're going, you may end up somewhere you don't want to be, right? And
Mm,
so sometimes that's hard for people to get into that state. What I will say is, if you feel like you need the foundational tools to start your foundation, by all means, go out and do a program that maybe someone's already done that could help you with that. But eventually, you got to start to building on top of your own foundation. So that is one. Two, start changing the internal dialogue you have by matching up higher vibration words.
mm,
In fact, there's an entire training inside a habit-based lifestyle that talks about the 7 levels of commitment. I can't remember what unit it is. I think it's unit 4 or 5.
it's in
Um,
this group, right?
yeah, it's in this group. People don't watch it because it's free, but that would definitely help you understand what that looks like. And then number 3 is, ultimately, get in front of the mirror every single day, check in with yourself, think about like, hey, am I saying things like, I want to be confident, I want to be this, where it's like, hey, I choose it, and then act as if you already have what you say you want. Because if we don't act in faith, if we don't act as if we already have what we want, we'll never actually get that. We'll constantly be chasing it, and we could actually end up with it and not even know it.
Yeah. So, wow, powerful stuff. This has been my favorite lifestyle episode so far. Not just because it was focused on my birthday at the beginning, but we've had powerful conversation, lots of stuff to take away. Guys, we'd love to hear what you guys took away from this, whether you're watching live or on the replay. Even when we end the live, write down quickly, every person watching, what's the biggest thing that you took away from today's show? And then how can you also take that next step and start implementing that and start putting that next brick, that next plank, and start building that house that you want. So let us know whether you're watching on the replay or on the live. We would love to hear how you can start implementing all these lifestyle tips and tools into your life.
All right, guys, have a great weekend. And this weekend is amateur hours for all the married men out there. So if you don't normally take your wife out on date night, if you don't normally get your wife flowers, it is amateur night for Valentine's Day. And, maybe this is something you should start doing. I made a commitment. I think it was 5 years ago. I told my wife, I was like, listen, I'm done celebrating Valentine's Day. And she's like, what? Are you serious? And I'm like, yeah. And I was like, here's why. It's like, I'm going to buy you flowers, once or twice a month. And I'm going to take you out on a date every single week. So you feel like Valentine's Day is every week rather than once a year.
Wow.
And so I made that commitment. I think it was 5-6 years ago. And, we still kind of celebrate it in a smaller way, but like, I'm not like running around trying to figure out how to get chocolates and make up for the last year. You're making up for it every single week.
Wow. Powerful. I might have to get you to do a training on that for all the young married guys and even single guys on how to date your wife, how to date your spouse. That would be a cool training.
All right, there you go. All right, guys, have a great weekend.
The purpose of this show is to guide you to realign with habits that get you to live the life you've always dreamed of. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with Jesse